Hey guys, so today I'll talk about what goes into buying a house in Canada. So I'll just focus on the considerations that people generally have right before buying a house. Maybe before it was a different scenario. Few years back it was a different scenario, but I'll just talk about the factors considering the current situation, right? So, and it could apply in general as well. Um, so first and foremost, obviously the preference. I mean, the old way, right? If you're living if you're working in a city, like if you're working in Toronto or Vancouver or any city, right? You would want to live there in terms of commute and the proximity to all the services, right? Probably walkable distance as well, and the transit services in these big cities are amazing. I mean, you really don't need to have a car. It's really good, and you can go to any place at any time without thinking about the commute or anything else, right? And it's very fast. You don't need to worry about the traffic, and you may get late and stuff like that. So that's the ideal scenario. But the way it has been over the years is in terms of affordability, right? It's the prices are going up at a very rapid pace in these big cities, right? That is one factor, and the other factor is in terms of the condo apartments, right? That's another area where people still look into. If the the proximity to their workplace is at the top of their priority list, then they still consider the condo apartments, which are still at a high price, and the room sizes are also very small, right? So if you're okay with that lifestyle, especially when you come into the new city, some people really like that lifestyle. Like even when I came here, back in the day, I really liked the downtown way of living, right? In terms of, maybe all my friends were close by, and we used to be uh, wherever, right? In a moment's notice, and everything was so close by, right? And lakefront or anywhere, right? You want to bike it, or you want to go to the center island or movies or anything, right? So everything is within that radius. So if you continue to like that, um, then I think that's for you. Um, so that's one consideration in terms of downtown living. Um, Things would have been really different if even the prices were little less or reasonable. Then people would have even considered more to live in downtown, right? And the houses are still a little bit on the higher side in the big cities, so that's another challenge. And the houses in big cities are typically very old, and depends on the neighborhoods as well, right? So you need to carefully research, um, you know, before choosing neighborhoods, before choosing the houses, how old are they, and the distance to the office is still okay. Wherever you take in downtown, it's fine. But yeah, this is where it all started, and then the prices just shot up, and the condo rooms became smaller and smaller. So probably that's not ideal when you have family, you have kids, So it becomes really tough, and if guests come over, then it's not what do you call a sustainable um, way of living, right? But still, that's the thing, right? That the main content of this video is about what goes into buying a house, what are the different priorities or considerations people have. So this is one of the priorities that I mentioned, right? Proximity to your workplace. Some people have that. I had that for the longest time, um, because I didn't want to live for the weekend, right? If you're traveling 1 hour, 2 hours, in fact, 2.5 hours, or 3 hours sometimes every day, then yeah, weekdays just fly, and there's no life in that, right? So proximity is one factor, and then the downtown way of life is another factor, and apartment way of life is another factor, where you don't need to, you know, do all the work that comes with the house, like snow shoveling, grass cutting. A lot of other things are there. So if you are living in an apartment, you don't need to do anything, right? And even there are services as well covered, like gym, swimming pool, elevator services, right? Everything is there. Concierge, and the party halls are also there, so that's good. Parking, yeah. So this is one of the factors. Now, as the prices started increasing, people started moving out of downtown, right? So then the immediate stop is the suburbs, right? Like Toronto suburbs, like Scarborough, and pockets like those. But those are also now going out of reach, or in terms of pricing and stuff like that. So then you move out of the city and go to another region, right? Like Brampton, Mississauga, Oakville, right? Whitby, Oshawa, the Durham region, then the Barrie, Newmarket. There's a lot of places where the GO train has their services. So then people started looking into this option, right? Like initially when we used to go on vacation, like weekend trips, and on the way we used to see these GO stations, right? And then we are like, who lives here, right? So far away from the city. But then everybody ended up in those cities, right? So yeah, then for those people the considerations or the priorities changed, right? Now you don't have a choice, right? The prices are so high that you have to move out of downtown or the suburbs, or the GTA as they say, for Toronto region. Even now the situation is these pockets are kind of not affordable if you're a single earner, right? Bramptons and the Mississauga, whatever I mentioned so far, that is also out of reach, if you can imagine, right? I'm talking only about a single earner perspective, right? And you're just here 3, 4, maybe 5 years as well, right? So that's where people move out, and at one point people they have even bought houses where there's no GO train station, right? So you have to park your car at the end station, the last station, and then drive all the way half an hour, 40 minutes, right? Because the market has forced people to do that, right? So that's the situation. So in terms of the houses now, right? So when you move into these areas, the houses are still affordable. What do you call it? Relevant to the conversation, okay? Not affordable in the sense with the comfort zone, but the houses are still affordable compared to the GTA, right? And the houses are bigger as well, and the communities are also, the neighborhoods are also new, communities are also good, right? And overall the city has a good review and background. The schools are good, everything is good, right? So that is another consideration that people have in terms of the school ratings, neighborhoods, right? Is it safe for kids? What are the facilities that are in the area, right? Um, is there a, are there too many parks, playgrounds, and stuff like that, right? So this is another consideration um, that folks have. And in terms of the houses, we have like three different categories. One is the townhouse, semi-detached, and the detached, right? So depending on your situation, you could, fit into any of these categories. The ultimate goal is to buy a detached house for anyone, but if you're late in the market, then probably you need to start, somewhere at the townhouse, and then based on your choice or your personal situations, you can decide later on, right? In terms of if there is a comfort zone in your selecting the house or the arrangements, then typically you would like of course a detached house with finished basement where there's a separate entrance, and you can also have your basement on rent and earn some side income from your basement, right? That's the ideal setup. um, so you could have that also as your, in terms of your planning, you could consider that as well. And then again, the proximity to your workplace, right? So you have the GO train, but still, how much time it takes to reach the GO station, right? If you have a car, how much time it takes, right? If you don't have a car, what are the options you have? Is the bus stop close by? Is there a direct bus to the station? If not, how much time will it take changing buses, right? And then if you're taking the cab, then you need to factor in the expenses, right? Monthly, how much is it coming to? Is it okay in your, does it fall in your budget, right? All those factors you need to consider before you plan on finalizing the neighborhood, right, of the house. Um, so these are the factors or consideration at a high level that people have. Of course, if you go into details, there will be a lot of things pertaining to different kind of people or their situations. But at a high level, I just wanted to share with you where this all started, like from downtown, and then people moving to suburbs, and now even further away based on the current market situation, and then the apartment living versus the house living, right? Initially, I also had that feeling about the luxury of living in an apartment. But yeah, I just wanted to try how it is to live in a house. So depends, things change with people. So based on your situation, you may go with either of the options, right? Each has its own advantage. It's not like one is better than the other, right? So early days downtown living is amazing. So if you're watching and if you are not yet moved here, so downtown is where you need to be. With or without family doesn't matter. If you want to have fun, then that's where you need to be, right? So yeah, that's about it. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything, but at a high level, yeah, this is what I wanted to share. So thank you for watching.